Hi everyone, this is Daryl with 3D Designs. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about my Educator series cases. I intended the cases to be a direct replica of the factory cases that these medications arrive in. If you are a teacher, you definitely know that these boxes, they break down as they are stored in probably your equipment bags, and students are opening and practicing all the time with them. And they can be quite expensive to just replace the cardboard when it breaks down. You can reinforce these cases with a bit of tape, but over time they break down. So I designed these replica cases to be hardened, rigid plastic that is not going to break down, but they also mimic the factory boxes, and I'm going to show you how. So the D50, or the sodium bicarb, because it also comes in a yellow one right here, it mimics this case. It has flattened surfaces on the front and the back where you can cut out your labels off the top, where it shows the name, the dose, and the expiry date, and on the back where it shows the instructions on how to assemble. And you can tape that right here. And then on the top, you have a friction fit plate to mimic opening up the top here. So you open up the top here, and once you have, the medication spills out just like it normally would from the box. And then, it slides back in, and then the friction fit plate slides on there snugly. Much like the smaller case, exactly the same. It replaces the cardboard box here. It is hardened plastic, so it's not going to break down like the box. It's going to last forever. It has flattened plates on the front and the back. It has a friction fit top plate that slides off the same way. This one doesn't have a piece of string attached, but I attach a piece of string like you see here on all the cases that go out from the Educator line. And again, this medication dumps out just like it normally would. So you can teach students exactly how the medication works without having them break down the cardboard boxes that cost so much to replace. I did want to talk about how maybe you can adjust these top plates. I looked at making these hinges, but the hinges are very, very fragile, and once they break, the case is broken. So I decided to stick with a friction fit top plate because it can be adjusted in case it needs adjustment down the road. I haven't encountered any of my customers yet say that their plates have gotten very tight or their plates have gotten very loose, but sometimes when they come off the printer, I do adjustments to them, and it wouldn't be impossible for maybe you leave it in a very hot car on a very hot summer day, and it reaches upwards of 50 or 60 degrees Celsius, and the plastic might tend to loosen. And in that case, you would have to adjust them, okay? Please avoid keeping them out of like a very hot environment like that. It is not recommended for these cases. So if the friction fit plate is too tight, you can take off the lid and simply take a file. It doesn't have to be a file as intense as this file. But just lightly file on both sides. And you're going to file on the sides that touch these fences here. So you're going to want to file here and here. You don't have to file on the sides here because that doesn't do anything. But just lightly file, and you don't have to remove much at all. I recommend maybe 3 or 4 passes with the file on both sides to keep it nice and even, and then test it. If it needs a bit more, sand a bit more then. It's easier to remove a bit more if you need it, as opposed to trying to add it on after. But with that said, let's say you have one that has maybe been filed a little bit too much, or it got into a really hot summer car and now the plate is just falling off and you want to snug it up a bit. You can easily do that using just a simple hair dryer. I don't recommend heat guns because they can be too much, and you want to just slowly apply a light amount of heat so that your plastic softens just a little bit. You don't want to liquefy it with a heat gun. So what I recommend doing is you take your loose fitting cap and you place it over top, and then grab your hair dryer, and you'll see the fences that I'm talking about on either side here and here. They have these support brackets here and here, and you'll see it on the larger case as well. The larger cases have three supports here on the back. You want to try and direct your heat towards the upper portion of that. The portion that kind of sticks off a little bit. I don't know if you can see if the lighting is good enough here, but this portion right here that sticks off is what's going to flex in. And that's all that you want it to do, is flex in just a little. But you want to put your cap on, or sorry, your top plate on, so that you don't accidentally flex it in all the way. Okay? So with the hairdryer on, make sure it gets nice and hot. And once it is hot, apply it back and forth, side to side, to each fence for about maybe 20 seconds. And then once that is nice and hot, you want to take your fingers and again, with that lid still in place, just apply some pressure and allow it to cool. That should only take another 20 seconds. Once that cools, you can take the pressure off. And once the part you can feel that it's no longer warm, you can test and see, is that firm enough? If it's not, leave the lid there in place, apply a little bit more heat, side to side, press in, hold, let it cool, and once it cools, test it. Is it firm enough? Maybe now it's a little bit too firm, and you want to file just a little. Eventually you'll get to that point where things are nice and snug, and you shouldn't have any trouble at all unless, again, they get into a very hot car. Thank you so much, everyone, for your interest in the products. I'm very excited to be making them and shipping them. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. I'm very interested in making everyone happy and making things that work and help. Email me at daryl@treatydesigns.com. Visit the website at treatydesigns.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. Message me. Thank you. Bye-bye.